So we'll just kind of jump right into it. So here's a funny story. I composed an email and it's been sitting in my draft for 3 years
Oh,
to,
wow.
to to reach out to you because when season two when the trailer for season 2 came out and your version of Cruel Summer was playing in the background, I was immediately obsessed. I was like, what is this? And we had to reach out to the creators, like who is singing this? And I think it was John Hurwitz, like, oh, it's Kari Kimmel. She also did the song Black in the season 1 in
Yeah.
episode 3.
Yeah.
So first off, thank you for carving out some time to speak with me.
Of course.
Oh my God, like after doing the little bit of research that I did, this could be like a 3-part episode. Like you have done so much. Your music, I where did I leave off? I think so I'm listening to your albums in chronological order. I'm
Oh, wow.
not skipping a
That's a lot of
song.
them.
There's a lot of them. And I think I'm on the first covers album because I know
Okay.
there's a 2. I did
Right.
skip ahead to some singles you released earlier,
Yeah.
but your back catalog, like every single song sounds so familiar,
Oh,
you
cool.
know?
Thank you.
Yeah. So like I wish I had discovered it, much when I was younger. This could have been like, your albums could have been the soundtrack to my life, kind of growing up. A lot of great songs, a lot of very uplifting messages. Like I wish I wrote a lot of the titles down because I would play something and like the music would catch, but then it's the lyrics and stuff too. Like Dreamer, I believe, was a song
Yeah,
that
that's
really
an old one.
yeah. And I feel like which album title from the 2011
Oh,
that year,
Life in the Day, I think. Or no, is that Out of Focus? That
Out
might
of
have been Out of
Focus
Focus.
sounds right, but there was just
I can't
like
remember.
hit after hit. It's just
Yeah.
so I became like a new instant fan of
Oh, I
yours. Just like,
appreciate that.
yeah, just I love your music. So let's kind of like learn a little bit about you. I know that you're originally from Florida,
Yeah.
and after graduating high school, you then moved to LA. What was it like for you growing up, like in elementary school, middle school, high school, like in terms of music? Like, were you into choir? Did you play in any of the bands?
Yeah, I was in a band. I did a little bit of like chorus in middle school and well, I guess just in middle school. But then when I went into high school, I joined a band and we were doing a lot of cover songs and they would choose the cover songs. They would choose like the set list. And I was the only one who was like, yeah, I don't like that song. I don't like that song. I don't want to do that one. And so they said, well, why don't you write songs then? And so I figured, all right, I'll try, and that was kind of really, I had started writing poetry a lot when I was younger. I wrote poetry books and I was always like really into rhyming. I just like, I loved Shel Silverstein and just like that kind of poetry. And then I thought, okay, well, now I can try to put this to music, I suppose. And it came very naturally to me. I loved writing and, I just continued to do it, all throughout high school, college, everything.
Now, do you compose the music as well, your own music?
Yeah. So now it's interesting because people ask me a lot of times, do I write the lyrics first or the music first? And I write them together almost always. The music forms the melody and the rhythm a lot of the times in the lyrics and vice versa. And so yeah, I basically write it all, I guess.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you've written for many of artists, and this is the funny thing about like your cover of Cool Summer ending up on Cobra Kai. Some of your previous work, correct me if I'm wrong, you also helped write Backstreet Boys Incomplete.
Yeah, that was a long story, but yeah, yeah. I'm a
Yeah,
co-writer on that one. Yeah, but that's a long story.
yeah, just that's a song I'm obsessed with. That has no ties to Cobra Kai. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way.
Yeah,
It is.
the majority of what I've done is, me singing as the artist. However, I have, written for other artists in the past. It always kind of winds up finding its way to the artist, not a very traditional way. Like, a lot of times people will set out to write for a specific artist. And for me, it always happened like maybe I was working with the producer and that producer was working with the artist, and it was a song that didn't work well for my artist thing. And, so it was always sort of like in a bit of a different, way that it got to the artist.
That's very interesting. Now, there's an unreleased Kesha song that you have.
Yeah. Well, I think it is released. I just don't think it's released here. It's released in the UK and overseas, a bunch of places. I'm not sure if it's released here, but yeah, that was a really fun one. That was one I did with a friend of mine who recently passed away, and so we used to work together all the time though. And yeah, that was an interesting song.
Yeah, the connection there to Cobra Kai, Kesha, she did a song called Blah Blah Blah, and in the music video, Brett Ernst, who plays Cousin Louie, he's in it, and he plays like I don't think he's a bouncer, because it's like Cousin Louie, like imagine him as a bouncer, but he works the door and he sees Kesha and he's trying to get a picture with her, and he even does like the duck lips, so it's super hilarious. That's but awesome. Also the Fosters,
yes.
for a song for the Fosters, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Tanner Buchanan was in Fosters.
That I don't know.
Okay, he plays Robbie, but I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm incorrect. Yeah.
It's very possible. The Foster song was something that I felt really proud of. Also to be involved in a show that I genuinely believed in. It was really cool to be involved in that. And, we had about five or six seasons, and that was really cool. I loved being a part of that show.
And one of the other last connections that I saw, and I'm sure there's plenty others, but Blockers, which was produced by John, Josh, and Hayden, who created Cobra Kai. Yeah. I don't know which came first, the egg or the chicken, but because in that same year when Blockers comes out, I believe is when Cobra Kai also premiered, and your song Black made it on to again the third episode of that season.
Yeah. Yeah, I just have one song in Blockers. It's like toward the end of the movie. That was cool. I didn't know
it's
that.
It's a great song. Yeah, it's a great song. That's the title track from that album as well, right?
Golden Glitter, yes.
Yep. Golden Glitter. Yeah, it's a bop. Like that's the thing. I was, like listening to your music, it's like, oh, this is a sweet ballad, and then like, oh, this is a banger. Oh, like I want to tap my foot, or it's a like legit bop. Like every song is for somebody, and it just happens to be right up my alley. So I was just like rediscovering this, but like I felt lucky. I'm like, look at all these songs that I get to go through. I just I'm just sorry that I didn't get a chance to finish all of them. But before we get to like Cruel Summer, I mentioned you did you did two covers albums, and so those specific tracks, they're all great songs, like Rocket Man, Eternal Flames by the Bangles. Oh my God! Like, how did you decide on those songs specifically to cover?
They're just songs I loved. I really had no like rhyme or reason to cover those songs. It was just, I really loved those songs. I thought the melodies were amazing. And I thought I'm such a melody person, honestly. And like every one of the songs that I wound up doing were just songs that I personally love to listen to. And so I wanted to sort of like do my own thing on it, my own spin.
You do so many other things. You also, I'm forgetting the exact term. Is it manage like over 200 bands is it Vocal You?
It's actually over 750 now, but yes, we not manage. So I have a company called Glow Music Group, and we rep over 750 bands of all genres for film and TV and ads and trailers and kind of all that. So yeah, it's been growing and getting a little crazy, but yeah, it's great. I love repping just fantastic music.
That's amazing, because it was an interview I listened to from like 4 years ago, and you guys mentioned like over 200 bands, and for it to be over 700, that's amazing. You got to be really proud of that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's grown a lot, and it's been something that really started as sort of like a side thing. I'd never really intended for it to, become what it has, but I'm grateful that it has.
Now, does it get complicated? Because there's a point where you mentioned like these people were coming to me and I didn't really quite know what to like. Does
Yeah.
that get challenging? Like trying to work with people that are so different?
I one of the things I've always loved so many different types of music that now, you know, not only have I been able to, kind of not every type of music, but I've been able to, you know, do kids music. I've been able to do kind of darker music that's more rootsy or an organic. I've been able to do more kind of electronic, EDM, singer-songwriter, kind of, a wide variety. And now I even get to like widen it even more. And we rep bands that are, death metal to Latin to, French music. It's just like every genre you can imagine, reggae, and I mean just jazz. It's amazing. And so I love that part of it. I feel like I really get to explore different types of music, and I have such a love for so many different types of music, even if I don't personally do that kind of music. So that, yeah, it's been great, and we're very selective. So we get a lot of music, and we only take on music that we love and music that we think we can place.
Yeah, I again just kind of listening to your albums and all the songs, like I feel it can fit in anything, movie, TV, commercials. When you come across like a project, and I don't know how you decide which band, or maybe you sit down with somebody and decide, okay, what projects are available, kind of thing. Do you ever come across something where you're like, I kind of want this for myself?
I haven't really, no. I mean, I think that I've always written all my own music, and so I've never really felt that way, but I have definitely felt many times like a song really should be a hit. That song, like I hear a song and I'm like, oh my gosh, that should be on the radio, that more people need to hear that song. And honestly, that sort of motivates me to be able to try to license that song so that more people do get to hear the song, and through different media.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. I was like, I didn't look up like which singles may have charted or anything like that. I'm sitting here, with my earbuds, and I'm thinking, anybody else? Have you guys listened to like Kari Kimmel? Like, you guys really need some Kari Kimmel in your life. Like, like I said, it's a mood setter for, and a lot of it is like just good vibes, that I really get from your songs. And yeah, I feel like, if you don't have your own, what do they call, like Sirius channel or whatever, streaming channel, like you need to have one of your own because of just the amount of music that you have, and it's all great. And I'm a podcaster that covers TV and music mostly, or TV, I'm sorry, television and movies. Like, I have no business speaking to you, like, so I nearly fell out of my seat when Jonathan reached back out, and just him mentioning that you guys are both fans of Cobra Kai. I was like, okay, well, there's my in,
Yeah,
at the very
absolutely.
least. Yeah. So let's kind of transition into Cobra Kai. How were you approached for, because so Black has been featured many places. I think probably are more familiar with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
How were you approached for season 1 of Cobra Kai and the decision to use Black?
Well, it's typically a pretty standard process. A music supervisor reaches out and says, this is what I'm looking for this season or this episode or this scene or whatever, and then we'll pitch a bunch of music. And I think in the first couple of seasons, I knew there's a different music supervisor now than there was at the beginning. For the first, I can't remember if she was on season 3 as well, but the certain music supervisor was in season 1 and 2, and I had already known her. She was the music supervisor for my absolute favorite show of all time, which was Sons of Anarchy, and so I was already stalking her. And she became familiar with my music, and I think, she had heard Black and just thought, oh, this would be really great for the show. So she initially was the one who placed that song. And then she was also working on season 2. And the way that the Cruel Summer song came about was she called me up and she said, we're thinking of doing a cover of Cruel Summer for the trailer for season 2. And we think you'd be a great fit. And I'm like, great, cool. So I got hired to do that. And that was I want to say that was through Amazon. And so I did the deal with Amazon. And they just wanted me to do like a take of it that I felt was dark and kind of moody, and and how to build, and would just really work well for the trailer. So and then it was funny because then they wanted to use it at the end of season 2. And the season is, I think it's at the end, right? The season finale of season 2. And the interesting thing that most people don't know is that's not the same version as the trailer. I completely re-recorded the song. I mean, everything is different. It's in a different key. It's same tempo. That's the only thing that's the same. All the instruments are different. The string line, the feel, it's all, but it's similar enough to some people, that if you don't really listen to them back to back, you might think they're the same version.
It's interesting. Do you know if obviously there's one that exists with the as a bonus track with the score. Do you know if the other version is available somewhere?
Well, so the in-show is owned by Sony, and the trailer is owned by, I guess, Amazon, YouTube. So I don't know. I know I'm the worst about knowing like what's out, what's going on. I sit in this studio and I live under a rock. I know nothing. I don't even watch very much TV. I just sit in here, I create songs, I do my thing. And then people tell me, oh, this was on this and this was featured on here. I literally know. I don't keep track half the time.
Yeah. I don't know if they fixed it, if it was a temporary thing or a permanent thing, but you just kind of mentioned how the trailer was owned by YouTube, Amazon. When it moved from YouTube to Netflix, they got rid of the Cruel Summer from that trailer. And I felt of the 4 seasons thus far, that was one of the best trailers because of your song.
That might have been why, because it went over to Netflix. I don't know. Interesting.
I blame.
Yeah, totally.
What are you guys even thinking? Come on. Sorry, Netflix, but I don't know what they replaced it with, but it changed. But the song, obviously, it's a cover, so the lyrics are the same, but you really own it, and obviously the tone is different, but it changes the entire story. Like the lyrics are the same, but the tone of it kind of changes the entire thing. So can you talk about maybe the process? I know they wanted a Kari Kimmel version of Cruel Summer, but can you think of the creative process and also because not only is The Karate Kid an iconic movie, and that song is such a classic, was there any pressure perhaps to I need to nail this because it's on a show that's now on Netflix, or I guess you didn't know that at the time,
right? Not really. I mean, I don't know that I felt any pressure other than I just wanted, whenever I set out to create anything, whether it's an original song or it's a cover of a song, I just want it to be authentic. I want to love it personally. And, then I worry about everybody else, because I feel like, well, at least if I love it and I can stand behind it and then they don't like it, well, I did, I followed my intuition and my gut of what I really thought, or something that I really could stand behind. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really have much pressure per se, but I did want to obviously turn something in that I loved, and I hope that they loved it as well. And they did show me, so I saw the trailer before I did the song. And so they showed me the footage, and then I got sort of a sense of what it should sound like. And I started getting, ideas, and I really like changing melodies, but I want to change them not to, just to kind of reflect the mood and the tone, not because I don't think the original melody is amazing, because it is, obviously. And so I was just trying to do kind of a different spin on it. And that's sort of what came out.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And when I need, I don't know if you want to call it a mood setter, because it's dark, but it's so good. I will just have that song on repeat, at different times. I just love it. It's so good, and that's an understatement in itself. Do you? I don't. You mentioned that you kind of live under a rock, but when that when that trailer came out, did you have any kind of pulse on social media from like how people were receiving that song?
I don't know that I even noticed for a while. With a lot of the music that I do, for instance, when I did The Walking Dead, the trailer for The Walking Dead, and I actually didn't even know that it came out. I mean, I had no idea. And then I had a friend call me and say, the trailer for The Walking Dead is out with your song, and it has, like 6 million views already, and it just came out. And I'm like, what? I literally like that. And I think it was a similar thing with Cruel Summer. And that trailer, I mean, I didn't even know it was out until other people started telling me. And then I went and saw it, and it was cool. I mean, I definitely noticed that it was being very well received. People really liked it. And that was obviously really, that was a good feeling to know that something that I loved and I believed in, other people loved too. So that was cool.
It's really, again, it's so good. I don't know if I'm correct in terms of the number, but I feel, because I have Apple Music, so I could just play it off of that. But I feel the last time I might have looked up on YouTube for that track, I feel it was like 24 million views.
Oh,
so yeah, so people love your version of that song. Like,
cool.
Not, I welcome like tributes and cover versions of songs, because I love just to hear a different artistic take on it. And so I can appreciate when somebody tries to do something different. And when I heard yours, it almost like you kind of top that list of like, not, I mean, I don't even want to say you do it justice, because you make it like so yours, like I don't even think about like the Bananarama version,
Right.
like this is Kari Kimmel's version. Oh, it's like, this is Kari Kimmel's song, Cruel Summer. It's just so unique. It has its own identity. And I think that's another great thing about your music, going back and listening to all those songs. They all have like a unique identity. They all sound different. Like, I think, in the past, I have listened to many pop albums by many huge recording artists, and like I would feel some of those songs sound a little too generic, and so with yours, it's just like, it's just all too familiar. It's almost like I haven't heard this album in like 8 years, even though I've never heard it before. So it's so good. I really hope that people watch this and listen to this interview and go check out your music. It's really good. You have also sang backup for like some really big names. I mean, Ringo Starr, John Legend, Pharrell. You have written for many people too. What do you enjoy doing the most? Because I know you also play like the piano and guitar.
Yeah. Gosh, I honestly, I love all of it. I love writing. I love singing. I love, recording and singing live. I really just, I have such a love for all of it. And I don't know that I could like pinpoint one thing that I, prefer over another, but I will say, I mean, doing live events with various singers, singing backgrounds is something I don't do a ton of, but it's something that's so fun. And I tend to do a lot of like televised performances. I don't tour. I've never wanted to tour, actually. So, but I've done a bunch of televised, I sing backgrounds for the Beatles tribute that was on CBS. And that's where I sang with so many incredible artists. And the Elvis tribute that was on NBC a couple of years ago. And then, I did a thing with what was it? Waylon Jennings. It was like a tribute to Waylon Jennings. And that was so fun. And I don't know a lot of country music, and I sang with all these incredible country, stars, and it was amazing. And I didn't know who half of them were, but it was cool. I mean, I knew, Willie Nelson, and I knew some of them, but that was a really fun thing. And then I've done a bunch of like on camera performances as well. So like in a film. So I sang backgrounds in this film called Danny Collins. I think that's what it was called. It was with Al Pacino, and he played like this rocker guy, and that was fun. And all of it is such an experience though. It's just, I'm always kind of up for whatever adventure there is. And I feel like I've really just had such a fun career even up to now, and I hope there's a lot more to come, but I feel like very fortunate and lucky to have done, a lot of the things that I've done up to this point.
Have you considered covering some country music? I know you're not like know a whole lot of songs, but I'm sure there's some that you must have thought about, like,
well, I did a cover of Ring of Fire. So
that's right. Yes, that was a single off that
and Crazy by Patsy Cline. I did a cover of that as well.
I didn't know who sang that, but I was familiar with the song at least.
Yeah, it's her version's a lot more kind of country fun, and mine's more dark and kind of not sad. Oh, maybe sad. Maybe it is a little sad. But yeah, I haven't done any covers in a while. I can't even remember the last cover I did, but I do enjoy doing it. And so whenever I have time, I'll think about the country thing.
Yeah, because I do feel that Covers 2 just came out in 2020. So I would at the very least on Apple Music, that's what it's saying. Like,
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
I do enjoy like the Tainted Love, and I don't remember if it was Tainted Love or Rocket Man that had like this I don't know if you want to call it a percussion, but there was this beat that was kind of added to it. I was like, oh, where did that come from? And it's really good to kind of.
That one's a bit heavier, a bit darker. Ring of Fire, was that the other one you mentioned? Ring of Fire is not as like trailery, I think, if that's a word.
You can make it a word. You can make it any word. You're Kari Kimmel. So you did release at least 2 songs that I did see earlier this year. Do you have something in the works that you would like to promote for those that are interested in checking it out?
So yeah, my life has been taking a little bit of a different turn the last couple of years. I've done a ton of animated shows where I'm doing all the music for various animated shows. So I did in the past couple of years, I did the theme song for She-Ra. I did all the music, all the songs for Spirit Riding Free. And including the theme. I did a show called Rhyme Time Town, and that was like really like preschool fun nursery rhymes. And then I just did a song for it's a Disney Channel movie, Zombies 3. And I had sung on Zombies 1 and 2 and Descendants. It's kind of like that, like teen or tween, or I don't really know. Like
YA kind of.
It's they're not necessarily YA novels. Musical kind of a thing, and I just did probably my biggest show ever. I just finished that. It just premiered a month or two ago. And it's called Eureka, and it's on the Disney Channel, Disney Junior, as well as Disney Plus. And I did all the music for that. And that was, oh my gosh, that was crazy. That was so much fun. It was, I think in the end, we wound up doing 76 songs for the first season. So that was, that kept me really busy. But, I got to really like write and create music in so many different genres for the show. So that was super fun. And in terms of the songs that I released, I think I released them because they were in some shows and I had never released them before. And I thought, oh, I should probably release this. But that said, I will probably be releasing new music in the next, probably within the next 6 months or so. I'm trying to come up for air on some of these projects that I'm on, but I have a lot of music I haven't released, mainly because I was creating it just, for a project, or I just created it and I never put it out in the world. And so I'll probably release some music soon.
Yeah, well, I can't wait. Hopefully, I'm caught up by then. But it sounds like I'm almost there.
Yeah.
You mentioned Shira. That when that was announced, that was something like I want to check that out. But as life happens, I know you have at least 2 kids. I have 5,
Oh, wow.
and so I don't get a whole lot of like. I get to watch. I didn't do Sons of Anarchy, but I was a Breaking Bad guy.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like
Great show,
that
of
was
course.
hard to get through because I can't watch that when my kids are
Right.
around. But
Right.
but Shira, I'm interested in that because like, are you familiar with the song "The Power of" is it Secret of the? There was a Shira and He-Man movie that came out in the '80s called "The Secret of the Sword,"
Okay. I don't think
and
I
there
ever
was
saw the movie.
and there was a pop song with that film. I believe it was. I want to say "The Power of Love," but that's Huey Lewis in the News and Celine Dion. So I don't know if it might be "The Power of Love," but it was a really great bias because I really enjoyed the He-Man and She-Ra cartoons back then. But if you haven't checked it out, see if that's something that interests you. And
Yeah.
I would like to hear a Kari Kimmel version of that.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, Shira
yeah,
was super fun. It was if you get a chance to check it out, you'll hear it was very like 80s throwback, the theme. And I love 80s music. I mean, 70s, 80s, a little bit of 90s, but that's like my jam. So that was super fun to do.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I couldn't watch MTV until like I was like 13 or something. For you can't watch this stuff because it's not you're not old enough kind of thing. So I grew up listening to the music my dad grew up listening to. So like
Yeah.
everything from the 50s through the 80s. So I have an appreciation for that older stuff. Were you ever into like Bee Gees and ABBA?
No, but I was super into Carole King. So my
Okay,
mom used to
that's right.
listen to her, and and likewise, I used to listen to a lot of the music my mom listened to, and that was probably my favorite of all the music she listened to. And then she listened to some jazz stuff, and I was like, that's not for me. But yeah, 70s, 80s, singer-songwriter. I mean, all of that. Love it.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned the new music possibly in the next 6 months. Where can people follow you so that way they can keep up with the updates?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram, just Kari Kimmel. At least I think I'm just Kari Kimmel. Is that what I am? I never go on my own Instagram, so I don't even know. But I'm pretty sure it's just at Kari Kimmel, right?
I'm sure
um,
it is.
I think so. And then I'm on Facebook a little bit, but not very much. So more Instagram. And I'm trying to get better about, other social media avenues, but yeah, I'm not the greatest at it, but I will say that I probably post the most on Instagram.
Yeah.